Hey, it's Coach Josh here, training for Warriors Portland, and I want to provide you with a little bit of clarity on eating for weight loss, eating for specifically fat loss, and where to get started. Now, if you're joining us recently, you might have a burning desire to transform your body, or you might have a burning desire to do something you've never done before, whether it's athletically or just visibly and aesthetically, and that's awesome. First of all, kudos to you for having a big goal. Now, that can be quite overwhelming if your goal is to do something you haven't ever done before. It could be something dramatic like lose 100 pounds. It could be something just downright difficult like getting six-pack abs for the first time. And what I want to do today is provide you with a little bit of clarity on where to begin and what everything means. Because I think that a lot of times we get fitness information without context. So, behind me it's a checklist, is a list of interventions, strategies, tactics, or protocol that you might try on your journey to burn fat and build muscle. Now, if you're training with us, if you're here in Portland with me, you've probably already been measured. Now, we might have taken some girth measurements, but we definitely stepped on a scale at the very least and got your in-body results and looked at how much muscle and fat that you have on your body. Now that readout produces some very important information when it comes to figuring out what you actually need to do and where you need to start to begin your journey of fat loss. Now, the first thing on the list here is eating at or below your maintenance calories. Now, the traditional way of estimating how much energy you consume is by measuring your lean body mass. And when we say estimate, we really do mean estimates. We don't really know what a particular person on a particular day will burn. And if the literature interests you, I can share some articles with you might find fascinating. But suffice to say that based on how much lean tissue you have right now, we can take a guess at where you need to start with your diet. And this doesn't mean that you need to count calories or weigh your food or do anything of the sort. What it does mean is you need to understand from a general heuristic standpoint about how much food you actually need to eat. Now, you could have to eat anywhere, if you're eating cleanly, between 5 and 9 pounds of food, depending on what your goals are. So that could be quite a bit, and understanding what it looks like visually is really important, so we've got some material for you there. But we also have a calorie estimator that we can give you, and that will help you plan out your first day of meals. And you can lay out a whole 24-hour period and see what that really means for you when it comes to planning ahead and eating in line with your goals. So the first step is just understanding what it might even look like to eat the right amount of food, or eat the amount of food that will begin your fat loss journey. So once you understand where you're starting from, you can start to make a plan. And the idea is not to do everything on this list at once. The idea is to get a firm start list. In fact, if you're just getting started, knowing where you are or where you're at and where you want to go, and just looking at how many calories that you need to get there on a daily basis, with what your maintenance calories are, that's a big step. And even just planning out and thinking about the meals that would be required for that is a great first step. Now, when you're ready to take the next step, you just start implementing tasks. Not all of these are necessary for every person. I've laid out some of the most common ones and some of the most effective ones, but you and your coach are going to decide how to proceed. Now, for instance, if you're a physician and you're working 24-hour shifts, eating slowly isn't always the right option for you, because you're literally on a timer. You're a lot of times you're eating standing up, and it's not conducive to try and force yourself into this narrow window. A lot of us as Americans automatically have issues with eating slowly just because of the way that we work or live, and that's okay. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to take the next logical step for you. So, eating slowly just means taking 20 or more minutes to finish your food. Eating a lean protein with each meal just means having 1 or 2 servings of proteins from healthy sources. If you don't know what those are, let me know and I'll shoot you a list. But essentially it's a palm-sized serving of protein with every meal. Eating 2 servings of veggies With every meal, that's 2 cups of greens or 1 cup of brassicas. So 2 cups of greens would be like 2 cups of spinach or kale, and a cup of brassicas would be like a cup of Brussels sprouts. It's a lot of Brussels sprouts, unless you're a huge fan of Brussels sprouts, in which case it's a medium amount of Brussels sprouts. But just adding 2 servings of vegetables will do a lot for your metabolism and a lot to get you towards your goal. So eating 1 serving of carbohydrates, of well-sourced carbohydrates with these meals, which is a cupped handful. Again, I got visual aids for you if you need help looking at any of those things. Eating 1 to 2 servings of healthy fats per meal. So, a thumb serving of nuts or avocado or oil is about, or thumb-sized portion of fat is about a serving. So 2 thumbs, so is about a half an avocado, per meal. So those are different. This is different visual aids on how to decide what you're going to eat. And again, I can give you a nice list if you need a place to start. Carbohydrate timing. All that means is timing when you eat your carbohydrates to when you exercise, either before or after, within a 2-hour window. Not all of them are necessary. In fact, there are probably a couple of limiting factors in your life. There's probably a couple of these key elements that are most important for you that might not be as important to me or the next person. So it's really important that you first grab some self-awareness and take stock of where you're at and what you do on a daily basis to make sure that you know the next logical step for you. And that way you'll be the most effective. Now, how do you decide what's not working and what's working? Well, first, you decide on the course of action. So let's say I'm going to start eating, my maintenance calories. So I'm going to be, within 90% of my maintenance calories each day. I'm not going to go too far below or too far above, but I'm going to start eating at that point. What will happen is you won't notice any changes that first day, but you'll take measurements when you start. You'll take measurements at the 2-week mark and at the 1-month mark, and you'll measure what your body does with that new habit. You'll also measure your compliance to that habit, and that will help you decide whether or not you need to refine your compliance. So if you're only doing it 60% of the time, you really don't know what it does because you're about essentially 50-50. But if you're doing it 85-90% of the time, you'll be able to get a nice picture of what that intervention or that tactic does to your body. So you make your decisions based on the data, not about how you feel about the program, not about how you're feeling that day, but what does the data tell you? And you keep modifying your habits and tactics until you get the result that you're looking for. So it's a slow start, but it's a long-term process. And it's a game of small adjustments over time that gradually you create a diet that's more custom to you. So the longer you do it, the more tenacity you apply, the more consistent you are with your adherence and measurements, the easier it is to get results. So, in conclusion, all of these items I've shared with you are great places to start. But most important is you first figure out where you're at, what your goals are, and what you need to eat to continue to make progress. And you can do that on your own. You can do that with the help of a coach. If you need more information on any of these ideas or topics, just shoot me an email or a text. I'll get right back to you, because that's my whole job here. Coach Josh, Training for Warriors Portland, helping you bring out the warrior within.